Alrighty, so today we're going to go ahead and work on a little bit more on the actual materials that we have here for the front and back. Front is a little bit more of a plastic color, so we're going to mess around with some different settings with the specular. We'll probably add a little bit of reflection. Again, you guys are in the different version where they added the specular and the reflection into the reflectance channel, so you'll have to go ahead and open those up, and then you should be able to play around with that. So for the specular, for those of you who they don't have this mode inside the specular channel, so it's going to be a little bit different, but these height, width, and fall off and inner settings should be fine. So because it is set for like a plastic, a soft plastic, it's not going to have a whole lot of actual specular highlights, but it's going to work very well when you get towards the corners and whatnot. So if you want to use something that's about the same, the width is 50, the height is 20, and the fall off is 0, and the inner width is 0. Now we're also going to go ahead and I'm going to add some reflection to it. Let me turn on my interactive render so I can actually see what's going on. So we have now we have this going on. It's reflecting a little bit too much. So what we're going to do is we're going to crank it down just a little bit, enough so that it'll reflect a little bit, but not too much. And what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to add some noise inside here. And then once I have some noise inside here, see if we can find a nice one that we want to use. Just kind of go through these different noise settings to kind of find one that'll work for what we want. So this is kind of displaced turbulence is fine. So that's good. And then we're going to hit down the mix strength a little bit as well. So at that point in time, it's going to be real subtle. You just want to get right underneath where it becomes very apparent that there's a noise to it, but so I can kind of see a little bit. So we'll go down a little bit. Right now I have it set to 37, and then we might just bump up the blurriness of it. So that way, even the we'll go ahead and add a light source inside here so I can kind of really see what's going on. That's nice. That's a nice look to it. So we really don't have to do too much extra for the plastics. We just want to make sure that we have a specular to it. Add a tiny, like this is like 7%, is not a whole lot. And we can actually do additive, turn the additive channel on. That should keep the main color a little bit more same than what we had. We don't have to have a normal or anything like that. So now we have this back reflecting color perfect. Alrighty. So the next thing we're going to work on the front color. So now this one does have, we're going to change the specular to metal. Let's see how that looks. That is a little bit too dark. And then we're going to try to turn on our, it works good with reflectance. That's too much. So we're going to actually go back, put that specular to plastic, because there's more of a plastic look to it. And then make it a little bit sharper. And then let's see if we can add a, so what happens if I add a Fresnel to it? No, this shows the reflection. So Fresnel didn't work, noise. Okay, so actually if I look at it, this does have somewhat of a noise aspect to it. So that does work, but we can see if there's another one that's going to work a little bit better for us than that. We're looking for something a little bit closer to kind of like, it kind of looks like the speckle that you have with a car paint. So I don't want to do that because might make my render look. So let's see this one, how this one looks. That's fine. Alright, and then I'm going to add our reflection on. This does have a little bit more reflection. So let's move our light source over so we can kind of see what's going on. See how this is kind of getting our reflection or set up right there, and then we're gonna put it down a little bit more. And so that does reflect quite a bit, but it's really blurry. So this frost color is actually going to have it looking pretty good. See how this looks with global illumination on, and do a quick render of it. Yes. I'm recording right now. You can if you want. Infinite light so I can get some light source inside here, and then we'll try to render again. Some global illumination. Let's see how this looks. The colors are blown out a little bit because of the lights are really bright on there, but this does look like it's pretty good. I'm going to add a floor just so that we can get some more reflection off of the object, just kind of see how the texture is going to look here. So actually, how I'm going to let this keep rendering, but I see how this is a little bit too much with the numbers. So this one is at 84% blurriness. So depending on how it looks here, and I can actually see how the noise is kind of giving me some things here, but this this looks though. Yeah, I'm going to bump this blurriness down a little bit. And there we got some noise to it. We want, let's see what if we get some other noise for, I want something that's going to be a little bit more blurry. Displace turbulence. That's a little bit better. So let's do a render region. Let's just render this right here. It's a little bit less for it to render, so it doesn't render the whole scene. Should take a little bit less time. Now this is a good example on how lighting and rendering will affect your textures and stuff like that. So you will have to always, after you mess with settings, you'll have to do a render to see how it's going to look. But see, I'm not even liking how that texture came out. So I'm gonna go back and actually kill that. Not transparency. To kill it on the reflection. I'll just have it with the reducedness. So that I'm pretty happy with. So I have right now, I have this has some color. I have the back has color. Forgot to add the color to the antenna. Because right now I have a front, a back, and I have a metal. The metal I'm using for the knobs and whatnot. I will create another texture for this particular plastic. Oh, actually, let me look at it. No, actually I can use the same metal for this one too, which I have on there. I was just looking at this. That one side of it looks like since it's an older piece of metal, that's kind of a little bit flaky, but that's particularly fine. All right, we'll go ahead and get the antenna recorded, or sorry, added, and then I'll call that it for this class, or for not this class, but for this video, and we'll continue on with the next video. So here I'm going to go ahead and already have the plastic on there. Now I might have already did it on the other video. I've had to do this multiple times, but we will see. Alright, there we go. Select this. And actually, let's go and we can actually see if we can try doing this. Add the metal to the antenna, and then we'll put that, there we go. Now let's take a quick render. Oh, because I have my global illumination on. Let me turn that off. I just want to make sure that the metal, there we go. So what I did here is that I added the metal to this object, and since it was over here, and the way it reads is it goes from right to left, and so I just had to move this metal behind this texture tag and texture so that it was going to read this, and it'll say, okay, well this is going to show up first, and then anything else that's not there is going to show the metal itself, or if I have a transparency under there, it would, anything that's not visible or will show what's underneath it. Okay, so that's it for this particular video. The next video we're going to go ahead and add this coloring to it, and then we're going to create the little slats on the sides here. and then also I'll add those slats to the very top of the handle itself. Alrighty, and I will see you guys in the next video.